Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. As technology evolves, it is important that our experts are kept in the loop with new advancements in their fields. This is especially important in fields like forensic science, where new techniques and scientific methods can solve crimes that are decades old. Javorn Weekes, Kyle Dunrod, and Nadia St. Catherine of the Forensic Department are here to let us know about the Anthropology and Underwater Drones Operations Training Center recently. Welcome to Good Morning SKN.
Welcome. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so this sounds very exciting for somebody like me who only knows about forensics when I turn on TV and see CSI. And Nadia, you hit your CSI cap, but that's fine. It's right there. Okay, great. What was your reaction when you found out about this workshop?
I was very excited about it. I realized it would give us an added dimension. Once we're able to get it online, on stream, get the equipment, the training was a good start. But once we get the equipment, it gives us an added dimension in collecting it. But then on top of that, collecting evidence, now allows us to preserve it in a way that not only us, the CSI, and investigators have it, but when it is displayed in terms of it is presented to court, right? Because you can actually do a 3D presentation if you will. It can now bring a more dimension to the persons who have to make a judgment call as for a case.
Okay, that sounds really exciting.
I know.
Kyle, I see you shaking your head. Your reaction when you heard about the workshop?
It was overdue, but I'm glad that we got it. Shout out the beautiful the instructors, Mr. Brown, Mr. Look, amazing people. And I could give you a quick example that me and my coworker went to a scene and we got a call about some remains, thinking it's human remains. I mean, we're trained, but we're not that trained. So when we got there, we didn't know what to make of it. We had to send the bones for testing. But with the training, we were able to tell quickly what was an animal bone and what was a human bone. So it smooths the transition a little more to the work, cuts down the amount of work that we have to do to get the job done efficiently.
Lovely. And Javorn, do you share in the sentiments of your other two co-workers?
What was most exciting for me is that my guys would be exposed to more training because that's what I always want for them and always encourage them to do. You know, whatever is there to be learned, learn it. Whatever is there to be practiced, practice it. And you can't go wrong as long as you practice what you're taught. So when I heard that they were chosen to be part of the course, I was excited for them and I encouraged them to go forward and do what they had to do. As a supervisor, I know and I've been told, I can't just do all the work. I have to delegate some of the work. And so I'm excited and happy that the guys were able to be exposed to additional training. And there'll be more trainings to come, but I'm always excited for them and I'm always hoping that they would get that exposure. So there could be on a level of, professionality that, they'll be looked at in court and be able to be identified as professionals.
Lovely, lovely. So did any of you have any particular interest in these fields before the training?
Yes.
Okay.
Anthropology has to do with the study of human remains, forensic anthropology more so as it pertains to a legal matter or potentially legal matter.
Okay.
We have had situations as we have certain remains and so forth. We need to identify them quickly, or we need to have them removed in a matter of time in order to preserve what is left for additional processing, autopsy, and so forth. It helps us. And the underwater drone, specifically because it's underwater now, it allows us the capacity. As I said, once it becomes something that is up and running, to now hopefully make it quicker to find and retrieve persons who have fallen overboard or who have been known to be lost at sea.
Oh, okay, nice.
The other part of it, as I said, had to do with taking certain photographs in certain sequences so it can be reproduced in a 3D format. So everybody's heard of virtual reality.
Yeah.
And this is now where gaming equipment can now come into play for assisting in that matter.
Okay, good.
That sounds really exciting.
I know.
I know it's rewarding, but it sounds really exciting. Did you have fun at the workshop? Let's talk about that fun.
I'm a gamer. And the drone operation, we know that it plays an important part in solving crime. But that, like you said, you can have fun with it. And regular Xbox controller, controlling the drones. So that for me was a plus.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
All right. So what was the most exciting part, apart from the gaming part? Let me go
Yes.
back to that. The most exciting part of this workshop.
The most enthusiastic part about it was knowing that we now have new tools, new knowledge. You know, so we don't have to be skeptical if we come across a shallow grave or if we come across remains, that how to go about it, and would we make a mistake or would we know what to do? No, we know, and now we know what tools are perfect for the job. So that's excitement above itself.
So it makes you more efficient.
Yes.
Yes.
You have the tools. So what are some of the exercises that the participants undertook other than drone that you enjoy? What other exercises were there?
Well, we were able to differentiate between human remains and animal remains, which is not as easy as it sounds.
Okay.
We also, like the drones, we did flying over, we did thermal mapping.
Okay.
You can tell based from human body heat, from the regular environment. So all that was very interesting.
Most crime scenes are first documented, first in writing. Well, writing is incorporated documentation. It's the photo documentation. You take photographs of the scene as it is. This is how we begin making a reference point. This is how we found it. As things are removed and investigated, you may take additional photographs. If in the finding of remains, you have to show them as they were in the natural setting, how they were found, and then you take your photographs. The 3D imaging comes in now when you take the photographs and they are digitally put together to produce a 3D image or 3D images of the scene so that they can be looked into. It's a way of archiving them so you can revisit the scene digitally, because the scene will not continue to be there once we have moved the body and moved the remains and taken up any other additional evidence. So this is a way of preserving it in the way close to how you found it, digitally speaking, and then you can look at other things in more detail. That's where the virtual reality comes in.
So let's talk about the importance of this training session as well as potentially any other similar training sessions that you would need to engage in to propel the development of the forensic department unit. Where does the session fit in Sergeant Weekes?
Well, we realize crime basically has no threshold. As long as it can be done, persons are doing it. So we've been exposed to different forms, different ways, different means, different types of crimes. And we realize one of the things we have come across are shallow graves, where persons persons who have died, whether they kill them or somebody else killed them, persons who have died. So by the time we go and exhume those graves, we are now to know how to and what we're looking for and how to preserve that site, and then how to remove those items from that site so they could be preserved enough to form part of the evidence for any potential court matter. So the training, yes, exposes us to potential risks, hazards, and practices that we need to know as a forensic department, because it's basically what we do and it's what is expected of us. So any trainings that we do is one, standardized. It's standardized training across the OECS and other parts of the Caribbean, and it's trainings that are also recommended by some US departments. So they are very, very vital trainings, not just so some persons might say, oh, are you doing this and we don't have those kind of crimes and what's not, but we never know. The world is evolving and expanding, so we need to be prepared in the event.
Indeed, indeed. And Kyle, I'm going to come to you. So what are some of the other forensic training sessions you would like to see come to fore?
Well, we would like more fingerprint training. That's kind of selfish of me because I'm a fingerprint examiner, but we did a lot of foundation training. Now it's time for us to get into expert training. We don't always want to have to rely on outside sources coming in to help us. We're a foundation and we should be able to boast the best of the best.
And that's actually one of the things that I wanted to talk about, because in terms of the preservation of sites, I was curious to know whether there were new standards that evolved that informed the conducting of the training sessions, or whether the preservation of the sites was something that, let's say, was informed on, I don't want to say on the fly, But because you're trained in it now, how to preserve it better? I was just curious as to what the procedures were before the training sessions. If you could speak to that.
Well, before this training, what we basically used to do was secure the scene, as in carding the scene, so no unauthorized persons would enter. And we, well, some of us had training in shallow grave examinations before, so, but not in anthropology. So, like me, I would know how to process the shallow grave and remove the items, but then I didn't know before what the items were, like if it's a femur, if it's a finger, if it's a, because I was not exposed to that type of training. So now we know exactly what is what. We could be able to count the bones because the human body has, just so many bones. And so if there are too many bones, then we'll be able to say, okay, it's more than one person's. It could be human and animal. If there's not sufficient bones, we might say, okay, body part is missing or something like that. So in the beginning, we were not exposed to that type of knowledge. We just secure the scene, collect whatever evidence is on the scene, and we send them off to a particular lab. We invite a pathologist in to do that examination. But now we can do a more foundational or basic processing before it goes on to the expert.